Okay, so episode 3. Episode 3
Still
of...
keeping count.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Mike
shit,
again.
yeah. We'll give that up soon. What is it? Rants, reps, fishing or ice cake.
That's it, yeah.
Rants, reps. I want to say... No, it's not. I
It's
said it
reps,
wrong.
rants.
It's reps, rants.
Rams, if we can't remember it, no one else is going to
No one
remember
else.
it.
We're going to have to change it to just fishing or ice cake. Fishing or ice cake is what it's going to have to
Right,
be.
so that's 2 full episodes that's lasted.
Yeah. So we're on episode 3 and we're thinking about changing it to literally fishing or ice cake.
Yeah.
by the way.
The worst thing is we've got the title right there in front of us.
Yeah, we do have a laptop in front of us and it says it, and we're still getting it wrong. So
Yeah.
shows how stupid we are, really. But yeah, episode 3. So I think what we're going to talk about here is that first diet. Okay, so the first diet that you do, the mental side of it, kind of what to expect, maybe some top tips that we would give people doing their first diet, maybe things that we see with our clients and things that we've done ourselves. Because the first diet is always the fucking hardest, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always the hardest.
Yeah, and it's like, and we're sort of mean like the first diet where it's actually like, okay, I know what I'm wanting to sort of do. I've got a plan for it and I want to get it done. Like, it's not just a sort of first diet of, my mate from the office has said they've been trying this for a couple of weeks, so I'm going to give it a crack.
Because everyone's done diets. I mean, I actually read a stat. I think it's a crazy amount of diets that someone will do in their lifetime, but it's like 186 diets on average the normal person will do in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So obviously everyone's dieted before. What we're talking about is a proper structured diet, not your Karen's started fucking Weight Watchers, like.
Yeah, but this because obviously, like, we see people, and we, like I said, we've done it. It's coming from a place of what we've done ourselves, but you see people sort of yo-yo in between different diets for years on end, just repeating the same sort of 4 weeks over and over. Yeah.
I did it. Keto, cutting carbs, like they would be classed as diets.
And you find that typical structure of you find something new or you get recommended something new and you'll give it a go. First week, super excited. Second week, still excited, starting to see a bit of change. Third week, starting to feel like a bit of a drag. Still seeing some progress, but not overly loving it, missing what you're doing before. Yeah. Week 4, starting to get really hungry, energy's through the floor, not enjoying the diet, but you are seeing progress. And then week 5 is usually where it's like, this isn't worth it, I hate it.
And everyone will relate to that. I'm pretty certain everybody listening to this in one way, shape or form will relate to that. Starting a diet, first few weeks, like you say, enjoying it, and then just very quickly tapering off because of whatever. And generally speaking, and this is the way that I used to do it, so I used to be over restrictive myself kind of Monday to Friday, and I'm quite a social person. I'd then massively overindulge at the weekend, and I always did back on it Monday. Like, that was me. Like, honestly, I was back on it every single fucking Monday. And like, I look back and I think, oh God, I was that guy. But like, again, it's just because we've been there and we've done it. So we get it. But what we're talking about here is like first structured diet. Maybe you've got a coach. Maybe you're doing like, I don't know, maybe you're doing one like a Blitz style thing, but first structured diet, what to expect.
Yeah, because it's that sort of option of, okay, there's that 5-week cycle, like we just said that pattern that people go through. Then typically you'll have like a few months off of being like, I'll think about it again in a couple of months. Just like, I've got a lot on or whatever. Then a few months later, you find something new, repeats. And sort of what we're saying is like, if you've been doing that same 5-week cycle, repeating those same first 5 weeks just with different diets for 1, 2, 3, however many years, sometimes in cases like 10 years plus with people, it's like you can actually just be like, do you know what? I'm going to get something. If I can figure out a way of getting something that's actually made for me and fixed, and even if it's like, right, I'm going to put the next 9 months into a diet, it sounds like a hell of a long time, 9 months to diet, because it is, but you've already been trying it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years plus of just getting the same process the first 5 weeks over and over again. Or you could be like, do you know what, instead of just going all over the place, I'm just going to be like 9 months, whatever it is, it could be 6, could be 9, could be 12, whatever. I'm going to commit to it till I get to a point where I'm happy, till it actually works.
Learning how to do it properly as well. So learning how to navigate social events, those things that normally throw you off, learning how to navigate those things, I think is the most important thing, because they aren't going away. Like, you're never going to get a clear run. And like, I actually had a consultation call the other day with a client. He's actually signed up, so you'll be okay with me talking about this. But he said to me, like,
if he didn't, you're just going to badmouth him for the next 20 minutes.
I was going to bitch and moan.
But
I had to kind of say to him, so he said to me at the end, like, he was like, this all sounds exactly what I need, but I've got a lot going on over the next few months, so I'll come back to you afterwards. And like, normally I don't say anything. Like, I was like, I can just, but I was like, I like this guy, and I was like, I can see that is where he falls down. So I was like, well, where do you struggle the most when it comes to dieting and training and your nutrition? And he's like, when I've got loads going on. So I'm like, so when do you need a coach? And he's like, well, when I've got loads going on. I'm like, yeah, well, there's your answer. Like, if you've got a clear run, which by the way, no one ever has, like, it's rare. It's very rare. Like, again, you're off to Amsterdam later today. you need to be guided through the times which are usually where you go wrong.
Yeah.
You need to have, that's when you need the accountability, that's when you need the structure. Because if we all had everything in like an ideal world, so if the gym was on your doorstep, your food was prepped, all that kind of stuff, like you don't need a coach. Like, you don't need the guidance,
Yeah, and I think that's like, I sort of done similar with some people in the past. I've sort of said when we've had that conversation, and it's sort of like, okay, cool, right. Just for argument's sake, like, tell me what you need to do right now to lose some weight or to get into the shape you want to get in. Like, just tell me what you would do. Like, what would your first guess be? And they'll typically say, oh, I probably need to start tracking my calories, eat a little bit less, make sure I'm getting to the gym, move a bit more, eat a bit healthier. All right. Right, cool. Yeah, you don't need me to tell you that then because you already know it. So I'm like,
it's not a long
so where's it going wrong? And it's like, oh, well, I've got something on at the weekend and that's when I don't really know what to do, or I tend up having a bit too much, and then the next day I'm not feeling great and I'll just stay in bed or stay on the couch, I won't move, and then I feel crap on Monday, so I try and start back Monday, but I'm not feeling great because I'm hungover. And it's like, all right, cool. So your problem isn't being told what you need to do, your problem is in actually putting it into practice when stuff comes up. So I'm like, so if you're then saying, I'm going to start when things are a bit quieter, which is never going to happen, I'm like, that's the exact, like you said, that's the exact thing that you actually need the help with. You don't need help to be told what to do because you know how to do it.
Yeah.
You need help to be told how to work it around everything else.
Exactly that.
And if you wait until everything else is finished,
which never happens.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And usually when you say that, it's a bit like, yeah, okay, I kind of.
And I think one of the biggest examples I see, or like experience, I suppose, with my own clients is you generally get a bit of an influx of clients in January because people are sorting themselves out and stuff. And I think a lot of them come in thinking, well, I've got a clear few months. And I kid you not, like, not one of my clients, like, maybe first week or two, they've not got much going on.
Yeah, and stuff always pops up.
And then all of a sudden, like, the socials creep back in, football season starts, whatever. It's your mum's birthday, your dad's birthday, your flipping dog's birthday. Like, all starts rolling back in. And then I think it's that realization then for those particular clients, like, shit, like, there's never a good time. It's just about managing working with what you've got.
Yeah.
So I think that's and that's one of the biggest things when you first start a diet, is just understanding that you're not going to have that clear run. So you've got to learn how to navigate those things.
Yeah. And just accepting it, like we said, it's probably going to be a long time. Like, it's probably going to take a long time. But if you can be like, do you know what? Nothing, the drinks, the socials, the takeaways, not even that you have to avoid them because you don't, but being manageable around them and sort of being mindful around them. Like, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be there when you finish. They're going to come around again next year. Like, if you can just say 6 or 9 months, I'm going to take this seriously. It's going to be long. It's going to be tough. But once I do it, I've then got that set point that I can then control from like, it's essentially like the last diet that you would essentially have to do. Because as long as you learn how to maintain it, which you should be taught how to do.
What I say to people is, like, fine. If we do this properly, it'll be the last time you ever do it.
Yeah.
Last time you ever do it. I mean, you might have little tidy ups here and there. You
might, like for a holiday or something. Yeah. But then that's like, you're only ever going to be 4 weeks at most away from where you'd want to be.
And like, people see it as an on-off switch, and actually it's more of a dimmer switch. Like, sometimes you're more dialed up, sometimes you're dialing it down a little bit. But for example, Christmas, you're going to take your foot off the gas. You're going to gain a few pounds. Your foot doesn't, like, pigs and blankets are too good.
Yeah.
But like, then summertime, you've got holiday coming up for 5-6 weeks before your holiday. You might just dial it up. But if you've done the hard work, if you've done that initial bit and you've got rid of the body fat, like 4 or 5 weeks is enough. Like, trust me, it's enough.
Yeah.
I know for me, like, last year I dieted for pretty much 8 months for my photo shoots, right? And I wouldn't say I got myself in a bad place, but I just let myself go a little bit. So anyway, I got into good shape. And I know that this time around dieting now, like, if I put my mind to it, I'm 4 weeks away from being back in photo shoot condition.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, if I get my head down, and it's not a long time, especially in comparison to the first one. So yeah, like you're saying, I think it's important that you coach properly so that you understand what to do between those phases as well. So because you aren't just losing fat year round, like, there has to be times where you're concentrating on getting strong, looking after performance, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. And that's where, like we were saying before, like, that's when it's useful to put in those little breaks here and there to experience that and learn how to do that and how to manage that. But if you can actually just be like, do you know what, I'm not going to keep fucking about for the next few years with different diets and repeating the same thing, and just actually being like, why don't I just commit X amount of time to actually just do it and stick with it? Get some help with it if you need it, or don't, whatever. If you've got a good plan, you whatever. But doing that to get you to that, then almost like that set point, it's like, right, this is my new baseline now forever, where I can just work from. If I can sort of stick around that point if I want to, or I can try build a bit of muscle and go above it and then cut back down to it, whatever. But it becomes your new set point of like a long time invested, but worth it, because in the scheme of things, it's like 6 or 9 months of consistent dieting compared with multiple years of on and off dieting.
Yeah.
and only one of them actually.
And it's actually going to take you less time.
It's going to take you less time
because
and you're actually going to get a result.
If you think about, if you do like 2 weeks on a diet, 2 weeks off a diet, that kind of, or whatever cycle you want to talk about, like you're going to spend more time doing that than you are committing to a proper one. So like you might as well just get it done. And it's like saving for a mortgage. Like, you know, for a period of time, you're gonna have to tighten up. Yeah. Like things are gonna have to be moderated. You're not gonna buy a new car. You're not gonna fucking go on fancy holidays.
Yeah.
But once you're there, once you've got your mortgage, like you've got your fixed rate, that's your maintenance, and you can chill out a little bit there.
Yeah.
And it's the same with dieting. You know, for a period of time, I'm not saying you have to be boring. Listen, like anyone who knows me, I enjoy going out on the weekend. I enjoy having a beer. I enjoy a burger. But when I'm dieting, like, you know, you moderate things a little bit for a period of time, and then once you get to the point you want to be at, like it's so much easier to maintain if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. And like, it's always going to be the hardest the first time. And I think the trouble is, you know, when you're going through that process, and let's say you're 5 months in, and you've seen some, you know, good progress, but you know where you want to be, and then you see someone else who's done it in like. So I had this conversation the other day. So I've got a client who's doing a photo shoot at our photo shoot in a few weeks, and he's like, you've seen him. He's like photo shoot ready, looks class.
Matt.
Yeah. And he was chatting the other day about why visually he looks slightly different to a mate of his from the gym, who has competed numerous times in the past, dieted numerous times in the past, and his mate looks a bit leaner. I think a bit quicker is what he was saying. And he was sort of asking why his mate looks leaner, quicker, if there's anything his mate's done different to what we've done different. And it was just a case of, no, he's just done it more. Yeah. Like every time you do
experience.
It gets a little bit easier.
Yeah.
It happens a little bit quicker. So like for me now, and for you, if you were to do another photo shoot prep, it would probably go easier and quicker than it had the first time. Like the first time I ever fully dieted for like a photo shoot, it was horrendous.
Long, hard.
It wasn't
so
even...
many mental battles.
It was that. It wasn't even that it was that long. I think it was like 20 weeks, so it wasn't ridiculous or anything. But it was the mental side of it more than anything, like expecting to get leaner quicker, seeing other people getting leaner quicker who weren't even doing the photo shoot, like battling with that, this, that, and the other. I
think it's the world we live in as well. Like you go on Instagram and like, I say this to my clients all the time, like stop comparing yourself to people on Instagram. It's the top 1%. Like people want you to see the top 1%, and let's say it's good to have goals, but like you don't know their circumstances, you don't know how long they've been doing it for, etc. And chances are they've not been doing it for 5-6 weeks. You know, they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, and it does get easier with time, but that first one just takes a while.
Yeah,
it's difficult.
It does.
And you've got to find a way to just accept it. And it's not going to be like sat in this thing, it's going to be torture or anything, and you're going to have no life for however long it's going to take. Because like you said, you can work it in, but I think it's just having those realistic expectations.
Yeah, it is. And I think the mindset switches are the big things. So like, listen, like again, you know, most people know what to do for a diet, and if you don't, like, you can literally go online and get all the information free. It's not the lack of knowledge. It's more getting yourself kind of mentally prepared for it and understanding that you're going to be hungry at times. Yeah, you're probably gonna have to say no to certain things as well. Like you're gonna have to say no to socials and stuff, and that they're the mental battles that you have to overcome to see the results that you want. And I think once people start once that stuff starts happening with people, they start seeing the results, like, fucking hell, like, this is amazing. But it is hard. Like, it is really hard. Like, it is. And I think, again, more just from a mental aspect than a physical aspect.
Yeah. And I think, just to sort of finish off, like, one of the other guys who's doing the shoot, he found in the first 8 to 12 weeks, no, not even that, like maybe 6 to 8 weeks, he had a lot of people being like, why you sort of, you know, he'd go out and meet them at the pub or something. They'd be like, why are you not drinking? Why are you not boring? So, oh, come on, you can have one. Surely you can have one. And he stuck with it. He was like, no. And he has had a few drinks whilst we've been doing it, worked it and whatever. But when he was at social occasions, he was like, no, I can't have that. I've got my own food, or I'm only having this off the menu, or I'm not going to have a drink. And they were like, why are you doing that? Why are you being boring? And then now he's got to a point where he's looking really, really good. Like he's got abs for the first time ever. He's buzzing.
And now
he's happy.
people are like, oh, what is it you do?
And those same people are now like, what? How have you done that?
Yeah.
And it's literally like, you know how I've done that. You've been watching me do that, commenting on me doing that.
There as well, because like this is coming from someone who enjoys a drink and enjoys like food and stuff, and I genuinely do. And like, if you follow me on Instagram, like this
is where you're better than me, because I'm not a big drinker anyway.
See, I enjoy a beer. Like, I go to the match most weekends, have a few pints and stuff. So what you just said is the hardest bit for anyone who like me, who enjoys a pint at the weekend and stuff. Like the FOMO, like the fear of missing out on things, and is tough to deal with when you first start dieting. And if you've got a big group of mates who go out every single weekend, and they will start taking the piss, they'll start having jokes and things. And I think, but what you've got to realize is actually you don't fucking need to be steaming every week to have a good time as well. And you can find other ways of enjoying yourself. So you can still go to those social events. Maybe you switch your drinks. Maybe you just have 1 or 2 pints. Maybe you just don't get really drunk, you know? And when people see, actually, you know what? 1, I woke up like fresh without hangover.
Yeah,
2,
yeah.
I'm still making progress. 3, I still went out and had a good time. Like, people realize like, shit, I can have a good time and not have to go wild.
Yeah.
And like, those are, again, we keep going back to it. They're like the mindset shifts that like happen during a diet. And don't get me wrong, like, you're not going to do that forever. Like, when you go back to maintenance, when your diet's over and you've got that degree of flexibility, you can go out and get drunk again. Like,
Yeah.
But you're going to do it from a place of feeling fucking good about yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And it is, you've just got to, like you say, when it comes to that social stuff, just, you've only got to deal with it for the first few times,
Exactly.
because after a few times, people just
stop
expect
asking.
it and they don't care. Yeah. And because I'm not a big drinker, and I never really have been, like when I was a teenager and you start going out with your mates and whatnot, like, because I really didn't drink that much then. I still would, but if I just met them at the pub on a weekend, I probably wouldn't drink because I wasn't that bothered. And more often than not, I'd be up at like 5 the next morning to go to work. So I'm like, I don't really want to drink.
Yeah.
And for the first few years, especially at that age, your mates like, oh, why are you not drinking? Like, what's, you know,
Yeah, it's
what's
tough.
But fortunately for me, because I did that from such an early age,
Right, I'm with you.
now they're just like, it's
They
more,
expect
more, it's now with me, it's more okay. So if I do have a drink, they're like, oh, bloody hell, you're
No.
drinking.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
What's
it's
wrong
like,
with you?
it's like, yeah. It's like, I'll have a pint, but most of the time, well, I don't
I know
really
you like a Guinness.
It's a Guinness,
you
yeah.
like a
That's,
Guinness,
I
yeah.
can't have beer. I know why, it just doesn't sit well with me. So Guinness, I'm happy with a Guinness. But even that, I'll have, for me, if I'm like, yeah, I'll have a few drinks tonight,
Yeah.
it will literally be 2 Guinnesses, and I'm like, yeah, I'm happy. I'm done.
Chilled.
Like,
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
it.
And at least each to your own, do you know what I mean? But no, like you say, I think it's getting over those things is important. But let's go. So, like, final tip, or like final, just to finish off, what would your number 1 tip be to someone who is starting a diet? Like we said, structured diet. They're gonna go for it. They made the mental decision. Like, no, I'm gonna.
For me, the biggest difference I ever saw, and it's going to sound like a plug for coaching, but it's genuinely not, because it could literally just be a mate who's a second set of eyes. The biggest difference for me, so the first big diet I ever did was for the first photo shoot I did. It was horrible because I did it myself. So I coached myself. I went down to a seminar in London. It was on photo shoots. And they were basically like, look, if you ever want to put someone else through it, you got to do it yourself first. I was like, yeah, fair enough, cool. So I literally came home. I was like, I'm doing one. Yeah. And I did it myself, and I organised it myself. And it was horrible because it was on me. My thoughts were just constantly on, am I making enough progress? Is my weight going down? Do I need to change my food? Do I need to change my stuff? Like, literally every day it was, and like even Sophie will say, like, it was all I was talking about at the time, because it was all constantly on my mind, like, do I need to change anything? Am I losing weight quick enough?
Don't you?
You second guess it. And
even though you've got all the knowledge.
Yeah.
So, like, I would say this, like, I don't know if you've ever read The Chimp Paradox. It's a book.
I started it. I'm not a great reader.
Actually,
I have started it,
got
but
me to read it, and it's actually really good. But it's like,
I've got it on the shelf at home.
You've got like your emotional side of your brain, your logical side of the brain, and like no matter how much fucking logic you've got, like your emotional side of your brain, like your chimp side of your brain, like is more powerful, and like that will take over. So even when you've got all the knowledge and all the logic and all the fucking everything you need to do what you need to do, sometimes you need a second pair of eyes to go, just calm down, everything's okay.
Well, that was it. So like I said, the first time I did it was constant. Even when it was going well, it was on my mind. The days where it didn't, and like for whatever reason, it, you know, scales have gone up or whatever, or from pictures to pictures, week to week, you didn't see a difference, and then you freak out and you're like, hang on, do I need to change something? Is it not working anymore? Do I need a new approach? The second time I did it, I had a coach, and I think that was another 20-week diet. And for the first 16 weeks, I didn't even feel like I was
That's what I mean.
dieting, because it was literally a case of just do what I'm told. I don't have to think about it. And it's and you don't necessarily, like, obviously a coach would help, but even if it's just a mate who can be a second set of eyes, just to be an objective viewpoint of like, do these look different? Is this going in the right direction? Just to have
your worst critic as well. Like even as coaches, like I will look at myself in the mirror and I will pick out the parts of my body
you automatically look at the bits that you want to see change first, and if they haven't changed, you completely miss all the bits that have.
Same with my clients. I'm like, sometimes they're reluctant to send me the progress pictures. I'm like, just send me them because you won't see it. Then I'll get them and I'll put them next to each other. I'll be like, look at this. Look how much you're changing here. Look how much this is tight. Look how much it's changed. And they go, fucking hell, you're right. Yeah. I'm like, because you don't see it.
Yeah.
And it's just that second pair of eyes.
Yeah. So that's definitely probably what I would say.
Accountability from somewhere. Yeah, definitely.
What about yourself?
It would probably be the same, like, but obviously you've said that now, so I can't.
So I put you on the spot.
Yeah, so you put me on the spot. But no, actually, I read something the other day, and it was like the main reason that a diet fails, or someone kind of fails with their like fat loss phase or whatever it might be, is decision fatigue. Like people don't plan, essentially, right? So this is something I say to my clients every week. I'm like, have you planned this week out? Like, do you know what you're going to be eating? Have you done your big shop? Have you looked after your environment? Have you like filled your cupboards with all the food?
Do you know when you're going to the gym?
Do you know when you're going to the gym, when you're getting your steps in? And you know, the best ones, like the clients who get the best results, they know. Do you know what I mean? And like that's the thing, because I think if you're on a diet, and let's say you're following calories, you're following macros, whatever approach you're taking, if you're having to think about every decision every day, what you're eating for breakfast, what you're eating for lunch, what you're eating for dinner, when you get into the gym, and like you're just trying to throw it in, and it's all sporadic, and it's all sporadic, and it's all ad hoc, you will fuck it off. Like you won't stick to it, because you're making that's a chunk of decisions that you've got to make anyway. But then you've got kids, you've got work, you've got everything else you've got to think about on a daily basis. So I think actually just plan ahead. Like, a lack of planning is huge.
I had this conversation with someone yesterday, and I literally said to them, like, get yourself to a position now where every night you're just planning out the food for the next day, so that you can literally wake up and you're like, I know what I'm eating, I just need to think about it. I'm like, set your clothes out for work the night before, so again, you can just get up and it's already set out and sorted for you. Yeah, I was like, just decide when you're going to be able to get to the gym this week, because inevitably, if you sort of go like, oh, well, I could go tonight, but I have still got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so I'll just try go then. Something always comes up, and you always end up losing it. And I was like, and if you're living with someone else, or if you've got like yourself, obviously you've got Thea to look after, like even if it needs to be a conversation with your other half of like, okay, these are the nights I'm planning to go. Does this work for us?
That's the way me and Louise do it. She wants to go to the gym and stuff as well, and I'm like, right, well, you go these days, I'll go these days, and it's planned in. And listen, sometimes
it's going to go wrong. It's always going to go wrong. But at least you've got that plan to fall back on.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a plan, and even if something goes wrong somewhere, you can just slightly tweak it.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, like, planning things is so important. That's something I've had to learn even more since becoming a dad, because you. Like, trust me, like, shit goes wrong all the time. Like, literally shit as well. Like, so it's so important to have a plan in place. Like, you can't just wing it. You've got to know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's my number one thing. Like, doubt.
Yeah. So I think that we'll leave that one there.
Yeah, let's
wrap that one up.
Yeah, maybe a little bit ranty and a little bit. Yeah. No.
They'll probably just get more ranty than more.
They probably will. Yeah.
These.
Yeah.
But we'll go with it. With it.
But yeah, no, that's episode 3 wrapped up.
Yeah.
Flying, mate. Of course.
Wicked.
Right. See you soon, guys.